I read so many good books in 2024. Went ahead and printed off the list. Almost a third were 5 stars. These are all fantastic. Welcome to Brew on It. My name is Megan, and I read way too many books last year. 2024 was a great reading year. I want to share with you my top 10 5-star fiction recommendations from 2024. Number 10 was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. It was her debut novel, and my daughter actually read it first and told me, "Mom, you have to read this, you have to read this." And I was like, I'm not so sure. And I hemmed and hawed over it, only for her to be absolutely right. I didn't think 2 was as good as number 1, but I'm excited for number 3 to see how she finishes out this trilogy. She put out a 1.5, which is called Powerful, which is kind of from the perspective of another character. That was good. Reckless was number 2. That is also very good. So I'm looking forward to finishing out the trilogy with Fearless, which should be coming out this year, I think in July. Number 9 is Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. And this one is about a stand-up comic, and her routines had me laughing out loud at some very inappropriate moments because I was listening to audiobook and she got me good. So beware if you read this in a public place. There were some skimmable love scenes, and this one just left a smile on my face. So anything that can make me laugh out loud like that is a 5-star. So I highly recommend Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. Number 8, The Edge of Belonging is the next book that surprised me. It made me cry. It is a dual time storyline. The main character, Ivy, was adopted, and we get to see the layers of growth in Amanda's characters. You can feel the characters as they grapple through love and loss and letting go. I would highly recommend this story, but be warned, have tissues, because I did cry. Number 7, All Roads Lead to Here by Mariana Zapata. This was a small town fiction with a slow burn romance, which I really enjoyed. Number 6 is Memory Lane by Becky Wade, and it is a Christian romance series called The Sons of Scandal, and I absolutely loved it. It was kind of a rescue scenario, and they had great banter. So number 2 is also good, called Rocky Road, and number 3 is coming out in February. It's called Uneasy Street. So if you enjoy a clean romance, check out Memory Lane. Number 5, Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. The cool thing about this book was I had just recently met someone that told me about this condition called face blindness, and I had never heard of it before. And it was really neat to read this story. It was full of angst. It was a very unique plot, and I just had never heard of that condition where you cannot remember faces. And I really enjoy Catherine Center's writing, so I basically went on a Catherine Center binge. I read The Bodyguard, Things You Save in a Fire, the rom-commers, How to Walk Away, Happiness for Beginners, What You Wish For. The Lost Husband is one that I still want to read by her. And then The Bright Side of Disaster and Everyone is Beautiful. All of them were good. Not all of them were 5 stars, but all of them were good.
Number 4,
When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This is the first in a series. The series is also the main title of When in Rome series. Number 2 came out, I think, last year. It's called Practice Makes Perfect. Book 1 and book 2 I loved. 5 stars for both of them. And number 3 just came out, I believe, today, and I'm really excited to get my hands on it, called Beg, Borrow, and Steal. Number 1, When in Rome, is a pop star meets a small town baker, and romance ensues. Sarah Adams just writes great, clean romances. She always leaves a smile on my face, and lovable characters, great settings, and highly recommend Sarah Adams.
she utilizes an author's note to give trigger warnings, and if there are chapters to skip, to keep it a closed-door romance.
The next book was called A Girl Called Samson. This is the way you make history come alive. So the setting is Revolutionary War in Massachusetts, and it is based on a true story about a woman named Deborah Sampson who joins in the Revolutionary War. And so this is a historical war fiction. It really highlighted her bravery and courage. It takes place in my home state of Massachusetts. It mentioned my childhood church, cities around where I had lived, and it was just really neat to get a taste of what the Revolutionary War was like for a woman soldier. And she hid her gender, obviously, in order to serve. And man, talk about bravery and just a crazy story. And I really learned a lot about the Revolutionary War from her retelling. The number 2 spot goes to The Women by Kristen Hanna. This is, again, another war novel, historical fiction at its best. This time it is about a nurse that goes into the Vietnam War, and it shows clearly the ups and downs. Be prepared to have a box of tissues because this is not a light read. You get to see her return and just how devastating it can be to witness such traumatic things and then not have an avenue to process them. And it really highlighted resiliency and the need for genuine connection between people. It really can make or break a person of being able to reach out and be a friend in a time of need. And I can only imagine in a time of war. I think we're just becoming aware of what we need to be doing to support our veterans that are coming back, and the fact that our nurses are also veterans of war was really highlighted in this novel. This book may not be for everybody. I found it incredibly page-turning. Everyone has a story, and we are tempted to judge rather than understand, or better yet, extend compassion. We need to do better. This really opened my eyes to a time in our not-so-distant past with greater appreciation, and wow, so many ups and downs. So many ups and downs. Man, it was a very heavy book. My top pick for 2024, so When Comes the Day, is by Gabrielle Mayer. This was really hard to pick, but I have probably shared this series the most since reading it. This series is called the Timeless series. Can't say enough good things about this series. When the Day Comes is a Christian fiction, time travel novel, and our main character, Libby, is living a dual timeline. On her 21st birthday, she will have to choose which life she keeps and which life she forfeits. So this is a beautiful story of choice and the sovereignty of God, and how we wrestle with where that line is, I guess. It is a fascinating concept that is then continued in book 2 and 3. Book 1 takes place in Williamsburg, 1774, and the Gilded Age in New York in 1914. It's very fascinating to watch characters try to live in 2 times at once. I love historical fiction. It's probably my number 1 genre. There is going to be 5, I believe, in the series, and I've read 3, chomping at the bit to get number 4. I love learning about different time periods in fun, memorable ways. I've never been a big history, remember the date person, but personal stories really make history come alive for me. And this series I have shared with so many people because it is that good. I can only hope that 2025 will have as many 5-star reads as 2024 did. What an incredible year. I hope you enjoy some of my recommendations. Leave some for me below in the comments. And now to go organize the nonfiction.